What's your car payment?
$958 a month.
How much is your car payment?
$1,670.
Okay, starting the video off strong here. I usually don't do reaction videos, but if you like them, I can make some more. But okay, we're just reacting to some of these asinine car payments. Hopefully I can try and explain to you what's going on here with some of these vehicles, give you guys some context, because that's something that other people who react to videos like this seem to never do. Here we can see that this individual is working at a Ford dealership, just judging by that name tag. This person might be a manager, and $1,670 a month, that could be for some kind of a top trim level pickup truck, or maybe even a heavy duty truck like a F250, F350. Again, we don't know, we're just spitballing here, but some of those top trim level trucks, they're going to be like 80, 90, even $100,000. Yeah, if you're going to finance that, it's going to be like $1,500, $1,700 a month. If that's what this is, then makes sense. And if this person is making like, I don't know, 20 G's a month, if they're really successful in their sales job, then I guess it's justified. And some of those trucks do maintain their values. Not the worst thing, but again, the average person doesn't quite think like that. And somehow, some way, online calculators are a mystery to the average person. I mean, what do you think a six-figure vehicle is going to finance for $200 a month? Let's move on here.
How much is your car payment?
$1,720.
Okay, I get it. This guy just outdid the other person, but once again, we don't know what these vehicles are. I wish this video would tell us, but if these people are in like a really high managerial position, and this is a, maybe like 10% of their take-home income, then it is justified. Who are we to judge, right?
What's your car payment?
$315.
What's your car payment?
$500.
Okay, so they sprinkled in some more reasonable car payments, $300, $500. I'm guessing that's for more economy vehicles. Heck, I recently did a video on a Toyota Corolla, and what that's going to finance for, that's going to be like over $400 a month. So, even some of the more basic economy vehicles are going to be pretty pricey, to be honest with you. I think in that video I said you got to make at least like 50 G's a year to comfortably afford a new Corolla.
What's your car payment?
$1,533.
How much is your car payment?
$333.
How much is your car payment?
$512.
How much is your car payment?
$606.
Okay, so they definitely sprinkled in some more reasonable payments. I mean, yeah, $400 to $700 a month, that's just what you can expect to pay for a lot of these new vehicles. In fact, the average car payment right now for a new vehicle, it's like $735 a month for new, and for a used vehicle, I think it's around like $520, $530, something like that. Average interest rate paid on a new vehicle, it's a little over 6%. For a used vehicle, it's a little over 11%. So interest rates are not helping. And even some people who have perfect credit, they just don't read their contracts before they sign. And some of these dealerships will screw people over. Even if you have perfect credit, they'll put like 15% interest rate on some of these car deals. So it's imperative that you actually read. But let's move on here.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$950. It's a 2024 Silverado 50.
Okay, this is a good video because it actually tells us what the vehicle is. So $950 a month for a new Silverado, that's kind of actually correct. In fact, that's pretty low because this person probably put down a considerable amount of money to get to that payment. With some of the resources that I have to share in my videos, which these asinine car payments, this is the reason why I do share resources like AutoCompanion, car brokers like that who offer crazy good discounts on new vehicles and reasonable lease programs. You can lease a $62,000 1500 Silverado for like $750 a month. So if you can actually make a lease work out, and if you're a business owner, I mean, that's just the best situation to be in because you can actually take advantage of these new vehicles for not a crazy high monthly payment, and you can even justify it. But $950, not terrible.
$1,500.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
My car payment's $730 a month, and I drive a 2022.
Okay, so a used Silverado, $730 a month. I mean, even in the used car market, like a used Silverado is probably going to go for what a discounted new Silverado is. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of like these semi-new pickup trucks or semi-new vehicles in general, because You know, with the resources that I share in my videos, you can get considerable discounts and incentives on new vehicles, which you can't get on used. So I'll talk more about that towards the end, but let's keep going here.
Chevy Silverado half ton.
What's your car payment and what do you drive? Ford Focus, $0.
Okay, paid for vehicle, that's always a blessing. Again though, there is something known as opportunity cost, which nobody takes into consideration, but let's move on. Paid for Focus, always a blessing.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
It's $404 and I drive a 2019 Chevy Trax.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
I don't have a car payment currently. Our car's fortunately paid off, but I do pay my daughter's car payments. They're like $700 a month and they drive an Audi S3.
Okay, we thought this individual was on the right track, you know, really had their finances in order, but S3 for the daughter and $700 a month. Man, he must really love his daughter. I mean, the regular A3 I can understand, but dude, S3, the performance model for the daughter, personally, me, I would never. But hey, who are we to judge his family, his daughter, right? So his vehicles are paid for, and I'm guessing this person is also maybe like a manager. Who knows? We don't know. But $700 for the S3, I mean, is that a bad payment for that car? It's actually not. It's not the worst thing in the world. Again, we don't know if this is a lease or if it's a finance or if this person put any money down, but let's continue.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
I actually drive a Chevy Trailblazer at the moment, and for that one, I'm actually looking at around $450 for that.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
My car payment is $600 a month, and I drive a 2024 Chevy Suburban.
$600 a month for a brand new Suburban is crazy. I mean, even on a lease, new Tahoes and Suburbans are going to be over $1,000 a month. They're not incentivized at all, both for financing and for leasing. So for this individual to get a new Suburban at $600 a month, he probably put down like 50% down or something crazy like that to achieve this payment. Okay, let's move on to the next vid.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a demo.
How much are your payments?
I have a demo.
I think by demo, she means she's just driving loaner cars from the dealership, which is cool. I mean, that's a privilege, so it's nice that she's taking advantage of that.
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2011 Corolla.
What are the payments?
$399.
Nice. Paid for Corolla, once again, always a blessing. But again, I mean, a lot of people, they're going to call the people with car payments complete fools, and I admit a lot of people make crazy mistakes financing and leasing vehicles, and they end up in horrible predicaments. If you're well researched, there is a common sense middle ground that you can take advantage of. It's not just paid for used clapped out vehicle. Not saying that this person has a clapped out Corolla or anything like that, but you know, the internet makes it seem like there's only two sides of the equation, either paid off used car or 30% interest rate, $5,000 a month. There is a middle ground, people. And I try to share that middle ground in my videos, and I'll try to do that towards the end here as well. But okay, paid for a car, always a blessing.
What kind of car do you drive? What are the payments?
Okay, here's where the opportunity cost really comes into play. This individual just paid cash for a new Supra, which is going to be over 60 G's. 60 grand is a hefty down payment on a beautiful new home. That's what I'm saying. Like, you plop down all this money on a rotting, depreciating liability like a vehicle. And, you know, that's cool if you're ultra rich or like a multi-millionaire and money means nothing to you. Money's just an illusion. Fine, you can do whatever you want. But for the average person, I mean, it takes an eternity to save up this type of money, but you can blow that in mere seconds. So, you know, it's cool that she's got the paid for Supra, you know, that's a blessing. But again, that money also has other purposes that it can fulfill. Just thought I would bring that up.
What kind of car do you drive?
I got the Elantra in 2023.
What are the payments?
$300.
$300 a month for the Elantra N, the performance model? That is wild. And this person did not say Elantra N line. He actually said N. So that's the full performance model. He got that for $300 a month. Either Hyundai's got crazy employee discounts that I don't know about, or this person has gotten the finesse of the century. Like, how did he pull that off? And he's saying, come get one. Yeah, I would, bro, but tell me how you pulled that off. Like, I need more information. Usually those high-end performance models are never, you know, they don't really come with crazy incentives like that. But this person is saying, come get one, like it's the deal of the century. So I don't know, maybe bro has some other information that we don't know about, but let's move on.
What kind of car do you drive?
2022 Hyundai Palisade.
What are your payments?
7.
That's about what you can expect for a 3-row SUV like that.
What do you drive?
This one, but the same.
What are your payments?
You don't want to know.
What kind of car?
Homegirl just said, you don't want to know. She's got the Ioniq 6. It's an EV. Those are some of the most incentivized vehicles out there. I mean, people have like lease hacked that vehicle to get it for like $250, $300 a month. For her to say you don't want to know, I'm guessing she got screwed over on that vehicle, which is really unfortunate. You don't want to get screwed over on an EV because you're just going to be underwater so bad. You want to lease and dump those vehicles. You want to take advantage and be knowledgeable of every single incentive and promotion there is. You do all that, EVs can make sense. If you don't, it's going to be a disaster.
You drive?
2009 Honda Civic.
What are your payments?
500.
Yo, 542 for the Civic? The 09? I'm guessing this individual probably had bad credit or something, and they went to like a buy here, pay here lot, and they're trying to like build up their credit. That's the only way this can make sense. Man, it sucks if you blow your credit off because, yeah, you end up in something like this, totally undesirable, a basic economy car. It's not even brand new. 542 a month. If you had perfect credit, you can lease like a brand new BMW EV. You know what I mean? So it's really sad when people end up in these situations.
$42 a month.
What's the average car payment you see?
Unfortunately, I say like $800
No
on
fucking
average.
way.
$1,200.
How?
I ask them like, what is this $1,200 payment? And they're like, oh, that's my Telluride or whatever.
Yeah, average payment is like $735 a month in the United States for new vehicles. And right now, I got the 2025 Toyota Grand Highlander to review. With Toyota's incentivized finance rate of 5.99% for 60 months, that $57,000 Grand Highlander, it's going to finance for like $1,200 a month. Yeah, that's what you can expect for a new top-of-the-line 3-row SUV nowadays. And people are saying things like $1,200 for a Telluride, but once again, it's like online calculators are some kind of a mystery to people. I mean, yeah, like what do you expect a $57,000 vehicle is going to finance for? And that's why I always share with my audience ways on how they can save money. Like I think on the Telluride with AutoCompanion, he's got like 10% off. They lease out for like 500-ish a month, I believe, depending on the trim. So that's why I shared these resources so you can get into things like a Telluride but not pay $1,200. You know, if you can make the lease work, better yet, you're a business owner, top tier. I mean, that's really the hack when it comes to new vehicles, is leasing as a business owner. But yeah, if you're going to finance, this is what you can expect to pay. And to float that payment, you got to be making like 12 G's a month. Honestly, if you want that to be 10% of your world. So, you know, if you're well off, that's cool, but that's just one vehicle. If you need 2 vehicles, that's not cool.
Or Toyota. I think the cheapest I've seen is probably 480, 530, something.
Car rates have gone up.
And the rates on cars have gone up too.
And it's unfortunate because so many industries are heavily regulated, but I feel like that car industry and the car industry,
you can buy a car with no pay stubs.
They don't ask you for any type of income.
Yeah, you can really finesse the car. It's crazy. Like this world will give you loans for college and for a car, but if you want to buy a true asset like a home, wow, the hoops and hurdles you have to jump over is insane. Like an actual asset for your family, they won't give that to you. But cars and college, yeah, things that can put you into generational debt, you can get that all day long. You can roll over the negative equity. This is a sick, demented world, that's for sure.
This is exactly why I lease. Y'all see this beautiful car right here? Man, they talking about 30.
So that's the new 7 Series. $1,389 down, $1,389 a month, but I'm guessing this does not include taxes and fees. So probably closer to like $1,500 a month. I mean, we don't know what engine this is, or if this is actually like the electric version.
$1,889 down, $1,389 a month. So I told the salesman, ain't nothing to talk about. Let's do the deal.
Okay, baller.
All right, this car is about $125,000.
Okay, so this is the 760. It's the gas twin turbo V8. Okay, honestly, $124,000 MSRP, 760i. Yeah, that's about what you can expect these vehicles to lease out for. Whatever is the one underneath this, like 740i. Those are going to be a bit more incentivized, and of course the electric version is going to be cheaper still. But yeah, if you want the twin turbo V8 BMW 7 Series or the S-Class, yeah, they're not going to be cheap. Occasionally they can be, you know, incentivized and heavily discounted, especially if it's a loaner car. For instance, like the 2022 7 Series, like the previous generation, people were able to lease that for about $700 a month. So it is possible to lease hack these vehicles, but if you want like the new body style, then yeah, it's not going to be cheap, especially with the high-end engine.
Now my 8 Series was getting service, and they was like, all right, listen, but we gotta appraise your car. I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. $1,389. I'm taking this right now. Ain't nothing to talk about, right? Okay. So therefore, when after they appraised my car, they came back and they was like, well, listen, where you're at in your lease, you're actually value, if you end your contract today, you owe $77,000 on the car, and we can only pay $62,000.
Okay, so he's underwater, and homeboy is taking too long. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip this video. I'm sorry. He's a baller, he's got it, but I gotta skip this video. I'm sorry.
What's your payment and what do you drive?
2022 Silverado High Country, $969.
Hey, what's your
Yeah, okay.
payment and what do you drive?
I drive a Trailblazer Active and I pay $400 a month.
What's your payment and what do you drive?
Ford Focus, $0.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$2,000 a month. I drive Chevys, of course.
Yeah, but what kind of Chevy?
Car payment and what do you drive?
$415 a month on a Chevrolet Blazer.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
Actually, I have two cars that I have currently paid off, and my new vehicle is a 2024 Chevy Silverado RST 3.0 diesel, and it's $935 a month.
Yeah, again, people hear things like $1,000 a month, but that's just what they go for. I mean, it is what it is. If you need the truck, then that's just what you're going to pay, especially if leasing doesn't work or if you don't understand leasing, then yeah, the finance is crazy.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
I drive a Chevrolet HHR and my car payment is $0.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$650 and a Chevy Colorado.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$400 and a Chevy Trax.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$0 and a 2020.
Yeah, a lot of these people with like the Trailblazers, the Chevy Traxes, I mean, you know, this is obviously some kind of a Chevy dealership, so it makes sense that they're taking advantage of employee discount, but really, honestly, I hate to sound boring, but you know, the best economy cars are going to be like Toyota, Honda, things of that nature, especially if you're going to be financing. If you're going to be leasing, it doesn't matter, but surprisingly, Chevy almost never has decent lease programs. Very rarely do they have that going on. As an employee, maybe the employee discounts are really good, who knows.
For Duramax.
What's your payment and what do you drive?
Okay, I think we get the point. Those are just some of the car payments that people are paying, and we can run some online calculations, and we can do that in this next segment. All right, let's go ahead and let's put into perspective some of these car payments that we just saw, and let's just see how, you know, quote unquote ridiculous they really are. You know, AutoCompanion, this is one of the largest car brokers in the United States. This is a company that I am affiliated with, just so you are aware. And you know, this company, they have partner dealerships in the Washington, D.C. area. They offer substantial discounts, honestly. I mean, as you can see, AMG Coupes like 15% off on the remaining 2024s. That is wild. But a vehicle that kept popping up was the Chevrolet Silverado. So let's focus on that vehicle and let's see what he has going on there. He doesn't have every manufacturer, but he's got most. And let's just see here, a $62,000 Silverado, 10% off. Okay, $55,800, that's pretty good. Let's see what the lease payment is like. I believe it's around $750-ish, but let me just make sure. Let's choose a high tax state like Pennsylvania, 9%. Let's put no money down, just a first month's payment. That's going to be like $759 a month. Yeah, with no additional incentives included. You know, if you qualify for something like Lease Conquest, you own a competing truck right now, you can actually get an additional $1,500 in rebate, and this is going to stack on top of AutoCompanion's 10% discount. Now we're at $715 a month. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. This is why I share with you these resources, because I get it. Some people, they need to go out, they need to buy a new vehicle. I'm not telling you to buy things you don't need. If you're already in the market, then services like this exist where you don't have to haggle, you don't have to play any dealership manipulation games. You just get the discount and you get out. Now, to take advantage of this resource, AutoCompanion does charge a concierge fee. He did say that if you fill out an inquiry form and you mention my channel, Meyn Motor Group, he did say that he'll take some money off of his fee, and I really appreciate him doing that for my audience, because he's not just saving us time and getting us a good deal, but he's also saving us from potential junk fees. This is something that dealerships love to do, especially if you demonstrate to them that you can't read. They'll do all kinds of nonsense on you. They'll put all kinds of tint fees, nitrogen fees, you know, hit you with that 20% interest rate. Even if you have perfect credit, they will do that to you, just trying to get one over on you. So with AutoCompanion, if you just suck at buying cars, then, you know, this is a great service where you don't have to worry about hidden fees. So that's really good. And that's the only reason why I share with you this resource. And not to mention, there are competing vehicles like the Tundra. Let's see what they're going for. Yeah, an SR5 Tundra, about $600 a month, 12% off the MSRP for a pretty well-equipped SR5 truck. It's not bad. And again, I'm just showing you this just to give you some perspective. Like, there is a middle ground. There is a way in which you can take advantage of these cars if you need to. And not to mention, you're protected from the crazy negative equity. Maybe we can talk about that in the next video, but you hear people buying like a Jeep Wagoneer and they try to trade that in and they're like 50, 60 G's underwater. Yeah, you can avoid all of that if you're just honest with yourself and you know that you're someone who's going to be trading in and out of vehicles often. If you just lease the car to begin with, you would have been better off. But let's also like figure out what the finances as well. Right now on Chevrolet's website, it's like 0.9% for 60 months on a 2025 Silverado. Let's just put in 55,000 here. I think that's what AutoCompanion offered with his discount, his dealer discount at least. 60 months, 0.9%. Let's put no money down, because that's really the point of financing or leasing. It's to preserve your capital. If you're just putting down a whole bunch of money, then it doesn't really make much sense. Let's see here. Yeah, 1,056. Yeah, that's just what you can expect to pay on a lot of these new vehicles. About $1,000 a month. Yeah, a lot of those like asinine car payments that we just saw, they're actually in line with what they finance for. And this is with perfect credit, mind you, and that's with almost 0% interest. Let's do something like $75,000 vehicle, $1,428. So yeah, this is how people were paying like $1,500, $1,700 a month. They're probably financing these, you know, crazy high trim level pickup trucks, but people also completely disregard the base model trucks that are available to us. See, a Silverado actually starts at $37,000, but nobody ever talks about that. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to like bring some balance into all of this. I'm not even telling you what to do here. You can do as you please, but yeah, about $45,000. $870 a month. I'm sure you can get a small discount on this, so maybe like just do like 40 G's, $777 a month on a finance. Totally possible, but yeah, you get a top of the line truck. Yeah, you can expect to pay $1,700. That's just what they go for. You know what I mean? Like there's a spectrum that's available to us, and A lot of people, they don't understand that, yeah, there's actually a lot of wealthy people in the United States, like 22 million people in the US, they are millionaires. And there's 1,700 millionaires being made every single day. So that's your audience right there who's buying new vehicles. The $40,000 pickup truck does exist, but the average person is not really going to buy that. You know, I get it's not just millionaires buying new cars. There are obviously regular people who overextend themselves. I've heard all the stories. There was a school teacher, a dealership was telling me about this. A school teacher went out and she financed a new Tahoe for like 100 months. And yeah, people do that as well. There are people who make bad financial decisions all day long. And we all know school teachers don't exactly make a killing, right? So yeah, it's unfortunate, but here's the thing. When average people, when they do that, they typically can't afford the payments. They probably get the vehicle repossessed, their credit is shot, and they typically don't go out and buy another new vehicle for a very long time. So yeah, it is really wealthy people buying this stuff. Let's see what the average income is of a new car buyer. Yeah, the average household income for a new car buyer, it's about $115,000. Now, most people are well off buying these vehicles. Of course, the people making the bad decisions, they typically get their car repoed and, you know, they're forced to be in the used car market or even forced to go to these buy here, pay here lots, or, you know, put their money together, scrap it up and buy a used vehicle. That's just the reality of the situation. But yeah, I mean, let's see here. Many millionaires in the US. Yeah, 22.7 millionaires. 22.71 million millionaires in the US. Yep, exactly. And that number is rising. So yeah, there's definitely a large group of people that can afford these vehicles. I showed you the calculators. I showed you a resource on how you can save money on new vehicles if you are in the market. Not to mention, you know, a lot of these business owners, they buy vehicles for the tax write-offs. You know, you can obviously talk to a accountant regarding that because I'm not one, and this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you resources and the reality of the situation, things that literally nobody else shows you or talks about. If you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.